Here, bringing you the brand new video. Here we got some new cards. We've got a new archetype coming out, as well as another Venom Dragon fusion monster. So we're going to talk about the fusion monster first. This is Greedy Venom Fusion Dragon. It is a level 10 Dark Dragon type fusion effect monster with 3,300 attack and 2,500 defense. It requires one Predator Plant monster plus one Dark monster whose original level is higher than 8, or is 8 or higher. And it must be first fusion summon, so you have to fusion summon this first before you can do anything else, like put it, like special summon it from the graveyard or something like that. The first effect is once per turn, you can target one face-up monster on the field. Its attack becomes 0. Also, its effects are negated. These changes last until the end of the turn. So, for example, if this card somehow miraculously dies during your turn, then you activate this effect. The monster will still be at 0, and the effect will still be negated because it's still until it says until the end of this turn. So it's a pretty good effect. It allows you to spot and negate most things, aside from, like, I don't know, Cosmos. But the card is really good. Having the ability to kind of attack directly and then get rid of a monster at the same time is pretty good. I've always said this, so it's pretty good. And the second card is, if this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, destroy as many monsters on the field as possible. Minimum is 1. Then you can banish one level 8 or higher dark monster other than this card from your graveyard and special summon this card from your graveyard. So it kind of has a Stardust-like effect where if this card has to be destroyed first. You destroy as many monsters on the field as possible, which is actually really good. So it automatically board clears the board. And then you could banish a level 8 dragon or a dark type monster, then summon this card from the graveyard. It's not a bad effect. It just has to be sent to the graveyard, which is really awkward. Then again, the effect like this it's fine, because you're getting a board clear and you're getting this card back. So your opponent's gonna have to kill this twice essentially, which is really good. So. Yeah. Next, we're going to talk about the new archetype. This is Eidolon. This is Alistair, the Eidolon Summoner. It is a level 4 Dark Spellcaster type effect monster with 1,000 attack and 1,800 defense. The stats on this card aren't particularly great, but we'll see how this goes. So the first effect is during either player's turn, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, then target one fusion monster you control for the rest of the turn. It gains 1,000 attack and defense. So basically, if you want to make Star Venom Dragon in your deck, you can make this card much bigger. Yeah. But the next effect is if this card is normal summoned or flip summoned or flip face up, you can activate this effect. You can add one Eidolon summoning magic card to your hand from your deck to your hand. So it's a searcher for the spell cards. I'm assuming that this is like the fusion spell for the deck. So this card seems like it's pretty good if that is the case. So next is a rating. The Eidolon Beast. It is a level 5 Wind Warrior type fusion effect monster with 2,200 attack and 2,400 defense. It requires the guy we just talked about, plus one Wind monster. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can target one face-up monster on the field and change it to face-down defense position. I'm not sure how valuable this card is going to be, mainly because the Book of Moon's like effect has seen a resurgence, but I'm not sure how long that's going to last. But it's a very good effect it's a very simple effect, but it's a very good effect to say the least. So I think this card is going to be fine. You're going to play this at 1. It's an instant fusion target, so keep that in mind because it is level 5. So if that matters at all. The next card is Eidolon Summoning Magic. So this is the card that we just talked about. You can only use the second effect of this card once a turn. Fusion summon one monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand as fusion material. So you have to use your hand. If summoning an Eidolon Beast fusion monster this way, you can also banish cards from the field and/or graveyard and/or your opponent's graveyard as fusion material. This is actually really, really insane, because not only if you already control an Eidolon Beast fusion monster, or if you're summoning an Eidolon fusion beast fusion monster, you can also then say, hey, you know that you have a Wind monster in your graveyard, you can banish it. If you're playing Virtual Beast, banish that Wind monster from your graveyard. This has some really good implications, simply because it allows you to tap into your opponent's graveyard as well. So this is a pretty good effect. The second effect is if this card is in your graveyard, you can target one of your banished copies of Alistair, the Eidolon Summoner, shuffle it into the shuffle this card from the graveyard into the deck, and if you do, add that monster to your hand. So basically, it allows you to recycle your Alistair of the Eidolon Summoner. That's pretty good. It allows you to recycle some Alistair, because Alistair is probably going to be your main focus of the deck for right now. So it's pretty good. But the first effect, the fusioning effect, is pretty good. So yeah, and next we have one more monster. This is, yeah, I think we have one more monster. Yeah, this is one. We only have one monster. This is Elsion, the Eidolon Beast. It is a level 10 light fairy type fusion effect monster with 3,200 attack and 4,000 defense. That's a pretty good stat line. It requires one Eidolon Beast monster and one monster that was special summoned from the extra deck. So, for example, it could be any pendulum monster. It could be any pendulum monster that was special summoned from the extra deck. You have to keep track of that. It could be a Xyz monster. It can be a fusion monster. It could be a synchro monster. It could be anything that you want it to be. As long as it was a special summon from the extra deck. So it must be fusion. It must be fusion summon with the materials above. It has to do that first, so it's pretty good. While this card is in the monster zone, this card is also a dark, earth, water, fire, and wind attribute. That's actually I want to see how we're going to use this effect. So it seems like this is going to be a main mechanic. It's going to be one of the minor mechanics in the game, or for this deck to play around with. So once per turn, during either player's turn, you can target one Eidolon Beast monster you control or in your graveyard, banish that monster, and if you do, banish all monsters your opponent controls with the same attributes as that monster. So, for example, if you banish the wind one, you're going to banish all the wind monsters in the graveyard. If you're going to banish the dark one that we just talked about, the main monster, you're going to banish all their dark monsters, which seems like this is going to be the best one. You're going to be mostly banishing your light and dark monsters, so you could just keep gaining the advantage of this card through that, because most decks are going to be light and dark. Most decks are light and dark as of right now. That could change, obviously, but as of right now, it's a pretty good effect. This is a pretty good effect. Banishing everything in your opponent's your opponent controls with the same attribute is pretty good. So anyway, tell me what you guys think about these cards in the comment section below. Tell me if you think this archetype will go anywhere, if at all. Tell me if you think that the Greedy Fusion of Dragon will see any play. So I'll see you guys in the next video. This has been Team Venom signing off.